If y'all want to stand up, we're going to give you a mic. We'd love, tell us your name, tell us how long you've been in the business, and welcome to the family.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Shikha Arya, and I used to be a makeup artist before this. I still am, but I just wanted a parallel career in real estate.
Love that. Welcome, Shika.
Hi, I'm Macy. I just moved here Sunday from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
You got some fans in the room?
Roll Tide. I graduated in May of 2024, so a couple months ago. And I am just wanting to pursue a career in real estate, so I'm here today.
That's awesome. Welcome. We are so happy to have you. Now, feel free to grab a seat. So in our company, you'll hear us talk about the Y4C2Ts, and this is a big part of our culture and who we are and the standard that we hold ourselves to. So for those of you in the room, and I know we're eating, we got some yummy food today, I want you to be thinking about sometime over the last week, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life, where the Y4C2Ts showed up for you. Okay, I'm going to share a story first because I'm going to give you a minute to think about, but I want to hear from you where this showed up in your life. So a lot of you know, because you've seen me in the office, I've been a little under the weather in the last couple of weeks. I got some kid germs that turned into a bad cold, which turned into bronchitis. And in the last week, y'all, it's been the scariest thing. I have been like feeling faint and lightheaded and dizzy. So if you see me go down, just kidding, I won't. But if you see me get a little, right, I want you to know what's going on because full transparency, it's been kind of rough. It's been a little scary. And y'all, the teamwork element of this has showed up at such a high level because your ALC members and the leadership team here have jumped in wholeheartedly to be able to support y'all while I've been figuring out what's going on the health side. So I really just want to give them some love because they really have just jumped in to support me and all of you. So thank you so much. All right, I love that. Now it's your turn. So where has this shown up for you in the last week? And it can be personal or professional. Deanna, we're going to come to you with a mic.
Teamwork. We had a lot of people come out for. We had a lot of people come out for the blood drive, and culture committee, of course, was there, and so we just had a really great blood drive and teamwork.
Love that, and shout out to our culture committee, everybody on it, for heading that up. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it the cutest shirt ever?
Listen, if you did not donate blood, you missed out on a really cute shirt, and now you're gonna have to wait till next year. Look at that.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. Anybody else? Where else has the Y4C2T shown up for you in the last week? We're going to take one more. I want you to think about it, y'all, because here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of noise, and we have to take the time and be grateful for the good that's happening in our world right now. I yell at. Thank you.
Yes, Deanna, I'm going to talk. Okay, so the customers always comes first. You know, it feels really comfortable right now to not say anything and just hide in the shadows because it's really slow out there, and having listings, which I have not had for a long while, actually, I have to tell them, you know, the market is slow. And it's, you know, we would love to have showings, and it's not happening, and or drop the price or anything else. But ultimately, I can hide and not take my customers being first.
Right.
But I do have those conversations with them, uncomfortable conversation, I have to say, but it is what it is. And so, yeah, customers always comes first.
I really appreciate that. Y'all, I want you to hear that right now, and kudos to you, Ayelet, for not ghosting. Because here's the thing. Has anybody had to have a really fierce conversation and they woke up dreading it and they just didn't want to have it? Yeah, like everyone's like, yeah, me, I'm supposed to have one right now and I don't want to. The reality is, though, is that our clients are just as fearful, perhaps maybe more so than we are. And so I appreciate that you jumped in and you're like, even if this feels uncomfortable, I'm going to have that conversation. If you are holding off on having one, do me a favor, borrow the confidence that Ayala and I have in you and go have that conversation. Good? Okay, let's keep going. Now, again, tell us something good. I want to know what's going on in your world. There is a lot happening right now. What is good? Y'all, I know you got it. Raise those hands because we want to celebrate it. We're coming here. Phil's volunteering someone over there. I really like her. We're going to come back.
It's been awesome to have a closing 2 days ago. It's been 3 months. So yes, it closed. It's done.
Congratulations.
That's something amazing, not only good.
Well, and in all fairness, Ayelet's son just got married as well. So I think that's been the focus. Yeah, there's a reason why we're God family and then business. Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Okay, guys, I have been here for 2 months, and I had my first closing yesterday. Yeah, closed successfully. I have to say that this office, this success speaks for itself. I literally was me, Trey, Phil. He was amazing. Everyone was so amazing. Like, they put their best foot forward to just make sure everything went well. We had, like, to tackle a pushback a few hours before the closing. Yes, my heart was like, oh my God, what's going on?
Welcome to
But they
real
just did-
estate.
Yes, they did amazing. It was great.
That is amazing. And Delisa, am I right in that this was where you hosted an open house for Trey and a buyer came?
Yes.
Y'all, I want you, this came from here in the family. That is amazing. Shout out Trey Cooper, if you are watching, come on in because we're super excited to celebrate you too. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Anybody else? Any good closings in the last week? Just good news? Yeah, Luke.
The leadership team surprised me with cupcakes on Monday, which was super fun to be, know that I'm special and that y'all came in and did that. They are still delectable and in the office, so if anyone wants a cupcake, certainly couldn't eat all of them, so feel free to come by and grab one.
And make sure you say happy birthday first. Happy birthday. It is also Raphael Kirby's birthday today. I think we've got some other ones as well, so happy birthday everybody that's celebrating. I love it. We also have something really special. We have a very, very special guest here in the room. For those of you that don't know, in the Rawls Group and at First Atlanta, our qualifying broker is the incomparable Lynn LaCroix. And stick around because just after this, she's going to be coming up to answer all of your broker Q&As. So we've been having conversations and dialogues and role playing and all the things, whether it is about the NAR settlement, compensation, or just about the objections that you're feeling in the market, right? Or if you're like, hey, I feel like I want to get creative right now. I want to do something disruptive. Do me a favor, let's run it by Lynn first so we keep you out of jail. And that's part of the reason. So we're just so fortunate. I will tell you, y'all, I have been in this company for 9 years. I have never met a broker like Lynn. So we are really fortunate to have her, okay? So make sure you stick around for that. Additionally, we've got, you receive emails from Lynn, from the team. If you've got questions on our guidelines, protocols for the Rawls Group or First Atlanta, they're here. We've also got this in the front desk, and we're going to be keeping this up. This is not going anywhere, okay? We're just going to continue to update it as we get more information. And now it is one of our favorite parts of team meeting, the match game. So for those of you who are new, I'm going to break it down for you. And if you've got that listing, that buyer, you know what's coming, I want you to raise your hand because our mic runners are going to come and find you, okay? So for those of you that are not familiar, every week we talk about what's going on in the market. And we're going to talk about the listings that we have coming up or have just hit, and then the buyer needs that we have so that we can hopefully make a match here in the room. That's one of the benefits of being at First Atlanta and being at the flagship, okay? So when you stand up, you're gonna raise your hand, you're gonna get the mic, and you are going to tell us the address, bed, bath, square feet, price, and then I would say one feature, 2 if we have to, right? Because we wanna make sure we get to everybody. And then we're gonna pivot over from listings to buyer needs, and we wanna know exactly the price point that we're looking at, the area, bed, bath, et cetera, anything that we would need to know for that buyer. So hands up in the air, we're gonna kick it off right up here with Ayelet, and then we're gonna go to Zod, who has a new listing. Sorry, very excited.
Okay, so quite new listing in Kennesaw, 3614 Hollyhock Way Northwest. It is a great 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, split level, 2-car garage, and almost 1,300 square feet. So it's not a big house. Got a fenced backyard, and the price is $375. We priced it the lower in the neighborhood, and it was a great rental listing, but my client needs to sell. So we listed it before for lease at $2,100. It was actually leased for $2,100. So if you have investors or first-time home buyers, That's great. And then I got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in Sandy Springs, 1205 Gettysburg Place, rental restricted. I'm sorry, 245, 1,200 square feet.
Awesome. Okay, so if you've got buyers or investors and they need to take advantage of this, I love that. Knowing, by the way, that it rented for $2,100 on that first property, y'all crunch some numbers, reach out to your investors because that's a huge opportunity. Thank you. I yell it. Zod, we're gonna come to you. Hands
Right.
up when we're coming through, so we know where to go.
Okay, got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath with full basement. It's about 3,400 square foot in Atlanta. It is 2151 Zelda Drive.
Okay.
It is literally within walking distance of North Lake Mall and less than 5 minutes to Emory Healthcare.
I love that. So 2151 Zelda Drive. Price point was
$750.
$750. Y'all, I gotta just say
Fenced
it.
backyard. It's a huge backyard. So
Y'all,
it's great.
Zod is an amazing agent. He's in here every single day working, prospecting, helping his clients. You want to work with him, okay? Find a buyer for it because you want to work with Zod. Sherian, we're going to come to you. Yes, we're coming.
Hi, good morning. The listing I mentioned yesterday is actually live tomorrow.
Woohoo!
So 1062 Kirkland Circle. It's in the Village of Belmont community in Smyrna. 3-bedroom, 3-bath. There's actually 1 bedroom and 1 full bath on each level. It's 3 levels. Square feet estimated 1793. Price $539K.
Are there rental restrictions?
There are, but it's not to capacity right now. So yes.
Okay, I think we just found a unicorn.
Yes.
Okay, give us the address one more time on Kirkland.
1062 Kirkland Circle, and I'm going to actually have it on the Facebook platforms today so that you guys will see that. And it is an agent owner, so my family and I have a buyer need now. So we'd like to stay in Smyrna. 450K is probably our top, in 4-bedroom, single family if possible, but not opposed to townhome. So let me know, please.
What is the HOA monthly?
The HOA is $195 a month.
Yeah, definitely a unicorn. Definitely. I'm like,
two
not
salt
3
water
something?
2 saltwater pools in the community. We do food trucks there.
We're gonna need that address one more time. If you just came in, come on in, grab a seat. We're gonna need that address and price one more time, please.
Right now? Okay. 1062 Kirkland Circle in the Village of Belmont community in Smyrna. It's
Awesome.
on Windy Hill and Atlanta Road. Gated community, 2 saltwater pools, $539K.
Amazing. Y'all, I have seen the photos. It is beautiful. Congratulations, Sharon. We're excited to help you find a place too. Yeah. I love that. What you got for me?
Okay, y'all, so this is not my listing, unfortunately, but I am here to speak for Jocelyn. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's
We know
great.
Joss.
Yes, love Joss. So she has, the address is 112 Creek Indian Trail in Griffin, Georgia. It's a brand new construction build, will be finished by the first week of October. It's a beautiful ranch-style 3-bed, 2-bath home that sits on 2 acres of usable flat land. It includes a his and her closet, standing bathtub, walk-in showers, and high ceilings and all that. And it's sitting at $390. So
$390.
yes, anybody interested? Reach out to Jocelyn.
Oh my gosh, somebody needs to reach out. So it's Jocelyn. Last name is Linton, Linton. If you want to reach out to her. We got one more time on the address.
Yes, the address is 112 Creek Indian Trail in Griffin, Georgia.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. All right. Any other listings before we pivot over to buyer needs? Yes, Brett.
My listing at 1555 Kilmington Court. It's basically walking distance to downtown Alpharetta. Townhouse, 2-bed, 2.5-bath, about 1,200, a little over 1,200 square feet. It's at $380 now, and I think it's priced pretty well now. So
Awesome.
Bring your buyers.
Okay.
There is, you have to live there for a year, and then there's a 20% cap. So there is a wait list you would get on.
Awesome. Address and price one more time, Brett.
1555 Kilmington Court, and they just in the process of putting a new roof on, and they just replaced the water heater, and it's renovated. It's pretty nice.
That's great. Sounds like they're motivated to get that sold. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Buyer needs. Let's pivot. What are your buyer needs? Yep, we've got one here up front. Hands up. Then Cheryl, we're going to go to next. Thank you.
Up to 1.4 million in Alpharetta, Milton, Johns Creek, 6 bedrooms, at least 5 bath, obviously finished basement. The biggest challenge we have is that we need a very friendly backyard that will have tons and tons of trees that are going to be private. So
Private backyard needed.
private backyard, yes.
Okay, but that's a healthy budget, 1.4. Yes.
Oh, a swim tennis community.
Great. We're going to come to Cheryl and then Brett.
Okay. First, I did have a listing. It's a coming soon.
Tell
I
us,
was
yes.
It's a 1135 Havenstone Walk, Lawrenceville. Lawrenceville is big, so 30045, that part of Lawrenceville. 5 beds, 4 baths, 2-story on a basement, 2-car garage. The kitchen is gorgeous. They've done some different things in there. So when you come in the house, there's normally a living room, dining room. They changed the living room into an extension of that bedroom for just a closet. It's a beautiful closet.
Sounds pretty good to me.
But anyway, that's coming soon. It'll be between, we're trying to nail down the price, $575 and $6.
Okay, so 575 to 6. One more time, the address in Lawrenceville.
1135 Havenstone Walk, Lawrenceville.
Awesome.
Then
1135.
And then my buyer need is up to 1 million. Now go with me from Dunwoody South down to 14th Street. Anything
So
in
they're
there.
open.
Yeah, anything in that distance. They're trying to cut down on their drive to work. So anything in that distance, open floor plan for entertaining. That's the main thing they're looking for.
Any
4
bed, bath,
4
number
bedrooms
that-
minimum.
Okay, 4-bedroom minimum. Entertainer's dream home.
Yeah.
Up to $1 million.
Mhm.
Pretty much anywhere you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be a 2-car garage, can be 3. It doesn't have to be 3.
So they're flexible.
They're
Love
flexible,
that.
yeah.
Okay, do me a favor. If you do not have a listing, I want you to go find one. Because who wants to sell a home for $1 million today? Yeah, I hope everybody raises their hands, okay? Again, make those phone calls. I would actually go seek out a particular area and let them know that there is a motivated buyer and have they thought about selling? Because now might be the time. Love that. Awesome. Anybody else? Yes, Brett.
Yeah, if anybody has a property that has flip potential, fixer-upper, needs work, I've got a couple investors that are like ready to go, cash buyers, and I might be interested in too.
Love good for you. I love that you're building your wealth. Good for you. Debbie, we're going to come to you and then Brett Ross. Yes. Can't believe we can get a mic to Debbie. Awesome.
So I have some clients that are looking up in Forsyth coming. Minimum 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay.
It's for her quadriplegic brother that she's moving here from Texas. So a ranch is preferred. They will take something with a master on the main. It doesn't have to have ramps. Fortunately, her husband is very handy and can add ramps if needed.
Price point?
Up to 400.
So up to 400. Primary on the main is preferred, right? That's ranch is also preferred.
Forsyth County.
Forsyth County.
And on a personal note, I'm sorry, I'm going to be selfish and squeeze this in. The crappy Cadillac, it's over. It's done. Unfortunately, funds are really limited right now because it took me till I was almost 60 to learn to take care of myself. So just never hurts to throw it out there if anybody has a some estate sale or parents that older people that aren't driving anymore that have a car that they need to get rid of. I can help you.
Awesome, thank you. So if you know of somebody, please reach out to Debbie Braun. Amazing. Okay, so let's continue on. Now, last week we took a look at this slide, and we actually looked at the last 4 to 5 weeks, right? Raise your hand. Were you here last week? Amazing. Okay. This told us a story about exactly what's happening, and it's a little bit more than that weekly snapshot. But I do want you to look comparing from last week to this week, right? Are we seeing much change?
Small.
Yeah, small. So again, the thing is too, you've got clients who are looking for consistency, or maybe they're worried about elections or interest rates or whatever it is. The market is the market. We can't time it. We know that, right? So do me a favor. I want you to protect your client's experience. educate them, help them understand what's going on, and use these graphics to tell the story. You with me? Okay. We talked about this last week. We're going to be having an awesome Bold team meeting this month. But for those of you who are wanting to take more listings, who are wanting to work with more buyers, or let's just be honest, maybe our head's not where it needs to be right now. This is the perfect opportunity for you to jump in with both feet, lean in, and set yourself up for next year. So here's the QR code. If you want to join in for the full Bold, I'm happy to answer any questions you have, or you can register for First Step. Just as a reminder for those of you who have taken Bold and you're like, Cara, I've taken it 10 times. I totally get that, y'all, but this is completely new. This is not a slight tweak of or an iteration of. Gary has written this Bold firsthand, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so I'm going to stick around afterwards, after Lynn's class. If you've got questions, come and see me, but we're going to give you more information as the month progresses. Yes, I yell it. Let's give her a mic, pretty please. And then Madeline, we're going to get you coming up here.
So I did Bold 7 times, different classes every time. But I would say the fact that the price is still $800 since I first did it in 2009, people. Same price. They never raised it. And the fact that this company is doing this for their agents is phenomenal. You just don't understand what's out there because there is none like this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that testimonial. And now we're going to bring up our lovely Director of Agent Services. Let's give it up for Madeline Armstrong. Mads, come on down center front so they can see you on Zoom.
Okay, so just a quick note. So there's a little card in front of you guys. I've mentioned it before. Please take this card with you today. We offer a pre-licensing course through Keller Williams. We offer a scholarship, so it is free. If you have any friends, family members, get them to scan the QR code and they'll fill out a form. Make sure you put your name at the bottom where it says referred by so that when they go fill out that form, they can put your name down. So your name becomes attached to them. So when you call me or email me and say, hey, did Cara sign up? And I say, I don't know because I don't see your name. That way we can track it. At the end of this month, we're going to have a wheel to spin for the person who refers in the most to K-Score. So if you need some more cards, come to my office. I have plenty of them. Yeah, I think that's all.
Amazing. Love that. Y'all, Madeline has literally revitalized our K-Score program. We're so grateful for you. Yay! We're going to bring down Michael New. So you guys will remember last week and in the past weeks, we have been telling you about our blackout period, our no-go, do not push all the buttons. And the lovely Michael New, has he not just been sending the best emails? The best? Tell me you've read them, please, because he's working hard for you. So, Michael, what is going on now? Where are we in this blackout period?
You can now push all the buttons. Like it's fine. You won't notice a difference except for the create offer page is one page instead of 4. So that's a lot better. Other than that, there really shouldn't be much of a difference on your end.
Awesome. Y'all, we survived. The first and only time that we're going to have to do that. And I'm just going to make him really uncomfortable. I'm just going to tell you right now, we survived and the Rawls group survived because of none other than Michael New. All right, now we are going to, I feel like I need some music. I need to be queued up here because it is still thank you very much, the Hail Mary Blitz Tournament of Champions. And so let's take a look and see where we are. We're going to check out the scoreboard, check out our prizes. Y'all, everybody gets points just for being here today. So if you're like, how on earth do I get points? This is it. Keep track of it. And if you have not put your points in, what are we waiting for? Okay? So this is how you earn points. This is where you go to put them in. The prizes. First place, let's get one of these little things. Yeah. First place will receive 4 sweet tickets for any Falcons game of your choice. Y'all, that's like $1,500 worth of seats for you or your clients. Second place is going to get 2 tickets to any Braves game that you want. And third place, listen, we know that you are out there. You're doing open houses. Maybe you need an iPad for that open house. Maybe you need it to show off your listings. Third place gets an iPad. Is this something we want to compete for? Yeah. Yes, I love it. So, Put your points in. If you are sitting in the room today, you have earned points. Everyone should be putting points in, right? I know, I need one of these, like, yay. Okay, so if you have not, like, I should see everybody's phones out, taking a photo of that QR code, putting your points in, because y'all, it is totally worth it. And you might think that you're not going to win this, but you would be surprised. You might just win it, have 4 tickets to a Falcons game for you, your family, your clients, whomever you want it to be for. There we go. We'll give you another 30 seconds. Going once, going twice, almost 30 seconds. And let's take a look at our leaderboard. So in first place, we are tied with Zod and Chirion with 24 points. And we've got Justin and John and Deanna pulling up right behind them. Y'all, give them some competition. Give them some fight, all right? So every week we're going to take a look at this, and we've got some more games coming. So remember, you have an opportunity in just a little bit here to get some blitz points. So wait for it, because those are coming. And again, let's give our front runners a little something to fight for, okay? Yeah, I love it. And now, without further ado, because who you work with matters and we know it, we're going to bring up the dream team from Supreme. They are saving your deals left and right. Let's give the dream team some love.
Hey, y'all. I am Luke Hale.
Happy birthday, Luke! I'm Kim Neely with Supreme.
Phil Young with Supreme.
Melissa Morrow.
So today was a fun day. This morning, the CPI report came out. So that y'all are local economists. We, listened to that, read it, and now we just want to convey to you what happened. So a month ago, inflation was at 2.9%. Today, year over year, 2.5%, which is a great improvement. We're really nearing the Fed's goal of 2%. That's been priced into the market now. Rates have lowered a little bit. And I think that it's almost inevitable that September 18th we're going to get a rate cut. I think it's going to be 25 bips, but maybe 50 bips.
And as he referenced, the market has already kind of factored in some of this. So we are locking in some 30-year fixed rate loans, high fives. So we'll keep you posted on that, but that's great news because we haven't seen that in a while.
Transitioning to our event tomorrow, we have a CE class, Understanding Home Inspections. So if you flip your flyer on the back, you'll see our little QR code where you can go ahead and RSVP if you haven't already. We'd love to see y'all there.
Yep. So if you were not here last week, then you missed the announcement that we have jumbo loans with a 1-year self-employed tax return waiver. They can literally file those returns, and then we can close immediately after. We do not have to wait for them to be on file with the IRS. Now, think about your database and who's self-employed, and think about who maybe hasn't filed their 2023 tax returns because they filed an extension. Extensions aren't due, the tax returns aren't due from the extension until October 15th. So this is the perfect time to reach out to your database and say, hey, whatever you're going to file on this year's tax return could qualify you for a jumbo loan, which means you could be buying $1 million home. So think about it. Bring us any scenarios. We are here to make every deal a win for you guys.
How much is the conforming loan these days?
766,550. What was the conforming loan limit?
766,550.
So jumbo loans are going to be anything north of that.
Yeah.
So that's
a nice round number.
Yes. That's the for conforming. Jumbo loans are higher, so we're talking about some meaty sales prices.
And FHA these days, the Fulton County?
649.
Depends on the county.
550. Yeah. But thanks.
Awesome. So when you guys have questions, do me a favor. Don't wait for your deal to fall apart. I want you to start with Supreme immediately because they're going to save you the hassle of trying to figure it out 2 days, 4 days, 8 days before you close, and let them help you. Sound good? Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's bring up the amazing partners from Campbell and Brannon. We've got Amanda and Lee today. Y'all welcome on up. We're going to get you both a mic. And I know we've got some slides for you, so we're excited to learn from you today.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lee Cohen. And the good news is we're not going to get up here and talk to you about broker comp again. I know attorneys have talked to y'all about it ad nauseum. Today we're going to turn it over to the expert herself, Lynn LaCroix. So you'll get to pick her brain. But not to give you a spoiler alert, things are going to be changing. So stealing Lynn's thunder. But for now, they are what they are, so you need to know what you're dealing with now. So I highly encourage you to stick around for Lynn's class. So, not talking about protecting your comp today. We're going to talk, well, still protecting your comp. We're seeing a lot higher frequency of buyers terminating contracts in this market. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about some things, some resources, tools that are already in your GAR forms to help protect you on the listing side with your sellers. So with that in mind, we've got the first thing is backup offers. I know back during COVID, backup offers were rampant. Almost every deal had multiple backup offers. If you have questions about how to use the backup offer, the email that Cara had on the first slide, our attorneys at cb.law, email us. We're happy to answer those questions on how to complete them. But just a few little bullet points on that. Earnest money is still due at the time of the backup offer. The time frames and all don't begin to run, the contingencies don't begin to run until they become primary position. But the earnest money is still due at the time of the offer. If you have multiple backup offers, we suggest attaching an addendum which lists the priority of the offers. So if you've got 3 backup offers, everybody knows where they stand on that list. And the closing date for the backup offer still remains the same, except there's a provision that it could be extended if the closing date kind of overlaps with the amount of time they were in the backup position. But it's all pretty self-explanatory there. But again, feel free to call us if you have questions about that. The next thing we have.
Option money. Again, you saw it during COVID. Most important thing about option money that can be credited to the buyer at closing. And this gives your seller some assurance that the buyers are serious, particularly if the buyer is requesting a longer due diligence. Another important thing about option money is that it's immediately due within the days. And then, again, just that it can be credited towards the buyer at closing, okay?
And it gets paid directly to the seller. And it works on FHA and VA loans where you've got that mandatory clause where if it fails because of an appraisal, they get their earnest money back, but option money is not earnest money. So that's a way to protect your seller, not only against a termination, but also against a bad appraisal on an FHA or VA loan.
So how do we actually transfer that money to the seller?
However the seller wants it. It can be a check, it can be a wire. But
again, it's immediate. You do it immediately within the day, the
and
time
it's,
frame.
and it's not refundable.
Correct.
Yes,
it
it's
could
not
be.
refundable.
You have to select a box. It will either be credited to the buyer at closing, so they don't lose it if they close, or it cannot be credited. But make sure you check one of those boxes, because the times we've seen multiple situations where that box wasn't checked, and then the day before closing, the buyer's saying it is credited, the seller saying it's not, then you're in a whole world of hurt. So make sure to complete all the boxes.
So if it's not credited, basically it's an additional money on top of the purchase price.
Correct. Next slide. Kick-out clause. I think most of you know how to use a kick-out clause. There is a special step, a GAR special step, 308, kick-out clause provision. But basically, does everybody know how the kick-out clause works? Okay, so seller has the right to continue to market the property even though they have an offer. If the seller gets an offer at the same or better terms, they kick it back to the buyer. The buyer can either accept to remove all contingencies and move on with closing, or terminate the deal. So that protects your seller in order to be able to continue to market the property.
And there is actually a status in FMLS that would note if there's a kick out. Yeah.
But that's like an overview, like in a brief summary of how it works.
That's awesome.
All right, if a contract terminates, as you know, when you send the contract in, we immediately order title and start the pre-closing process. So if the contract terminates during due diligence, and then you go back under contract, send it back to us, because we're already halfway done, if not all the way done, with all the pre-closing items for that other sale, okay?
Plus, the seller won't have to repay for a HOA closing letter. Maybe an update, but not a whole new one.
That's great.
All right, guys, we have 2 classes coming up. Okay. That's important too. Just read that. Yeah, it's real small. We have 2 classes coming up. We have a Zoom CE on Monday. You can stay in your pajamas if you wanted to. You can do it from the comfort of your home. I posted on Mission Controls, so check it out there. We also are doing a class September 26th. It's about AI. We have our attorney from Alpharetta, Jake Griffith, coming down here to talk to you all about that. You don't want me to talk to you about that because I'm not very technology savvy. So please join us for that. But if you do join us for that, we need you to bring your computers because it's very interactive.
One thing I want to say about Campbell and Brandon, if I may.
Of course.
Because this is my team meeting today. I don't know if you've noticed.
We
but
noticed.
yeah, you do. Well, nobody's talking, so that's why I'm here. It is what it is. I had a closing on Monday with Campbell and Brandon, Alpharetta. And I told you guys, I love you people, but it's too far away. And we had gone, it was supposed to be closed at 1 p.m. We were not able to be there at 1 p.m. and I've let them know, and we got there at 1:45. We had an amazing experience. My client was very, very happy with Colin.
Who isn't happy
Yeah.
with Colin?
I yell at his bluff. If you ever seen Colin,
Yes.
he's in the same caliber.
As Luke. And Brett Ross. Luke and Brett Ross, yes. Yeah,
This is only raffle off the
No,
guy
but-
show.
Brett's like, I'm never coming to team meeting again.
I got my next idea for raffle. I'm going to raffle off a date with Luke and Brett. So that's going to be our next raffle.
Okay. So, no, but seriously, my client was extremely happy. He got in at 12 and left at 3, came from North Carolina for this, and he was so happy with the service that he got with Campbell and Brandon. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Y'all, was that not amazing content today?
Hold on.
Oh.
I'm not leaving her that.
Oh, we need a dad joke. We need a dad
It's
joke.
not really a dad joke, but it's a funny. And it's about the buyer brokerage agreement. The last buyer I worked with wasn't bright. When I handed him an exclusive buyer agreement, they said, sign here. At the bottom, instead of signing his name, he just wrote Capricorn.
I get that. Get it? The sign. Hello, astrology. Thank you. That is funny. All right. All right. I'm going to leave this up here for one of our mic runners. So one of the things that we're focusing on as well is listings, right? Hello, Hail Mary Blitz. That is what we were doing. And we want to help you understand what it means to have a great listing on the market, because how you market it, how you present it, what it looks like on FMLS matters. What you're hearing from me as well is that it is on FMLS. All right, so we're going to take a look. So bear with me. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to show you some listings. And okay, let me give a little preface here real quick. We're going to look at some listings that might not, they're not winners. They're not winning currently, and I want you as a room to identify why, okay? Best answers are going to get blitz points. You're going to get lots and lots of blitz points today, okay? I'm going to be like, you get a blitz, and you get a blitz, and you get a blitz, and you're going to report it. Awesome. Now, here's the thing. We are not here, let me just put a caveat. We are not here to judge the agent. We are not here to judge the company that they are with. We are simply here to learn about how to market our listing at its highest advantage to be the best agent in any transaction. Are you with me? Yeah. Awesome. Yes. You know what? This is more fun. I want you to scream, and I want you to scream loud. Yeah. Yep. Scream and scream loud. Okay. Now, let's see if I got kicked out. I don't think so. First come, first serve. The first listing. This is now. Bear with me because I'm going to roll down. Now, this is a luxury listing. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. What are we noticing about this listing? Blitz points. I yell it. Y'all got to be faster because I yell it's on fire today, okay? Let me just move these so I can see you, okay? So I yell it's got blitz points. Michael knew if you will note who's getting the blitz points today. So do we notice? Is that just a little too long, y'all? Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. I understand that ChatGPT is amazing, okay? But let's not. Okay, great. Now let's see if there's anything else that we noticed. Y'all, this was a lot of fun pulling these, by the way. Okay, so this looks good, right? They actually put things in. Great, fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, this, by the way, has been on the market for 416 days. It is still active. This is what Not a Winner looks like. Doesn't look like documents are uploaded either. You know what? Let's take a look.
Yeah, no documents.
You get Blitz points. Shannon Parkinson, way to go. I love that. Yeah, cheer people on, folks. This is awesome.
That leading photo is not even a picture of the house. What is that?
It is. It looks like a backyard of the house. Yeah. But I will give points because the lights are on and it looks lit up.
Yeah, but it seems like a condo. Like a condo, exactly.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a building, not necessarily a home. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one.
The picture.
Picture. Who yelled that? Me. Blitz points, my friend. Blitz points. Now, what else do we notice? Okay, Deanna and Cheryl, you were both getting Blitz points. You were same time on that one.
No info at all. Nothing.
So Cheryl, what did you say? Nothing is filled in. Yeah, Deanna, what did you say? Oh, no documents. Rudiger gets Blitz points. It says GPS. Okay, I'm on my soapbox today, can you tell? I'm really excited. Y'all, please stop saying use GPS. I'm just gonna go over here and cry a little bit in the corner. Oh my gosh. At least they have smoke detectors in the house. Got it. Okay, well that one's only been on the market for 1 day, so we're gonna see how that goes. Next up we have another home. Taking a look.
No documents.
Blitz points for Cheryl. I love that. Now we know exactly where we're looking. Okay, I heard something over here. I heard not enough pictures first over here. Debbie, you get Blitz points. I hope someone is writing this down. Michael New, I'm sorry. I'm throwing this at you. Description. Be more descriptive, Deanna.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to be
Yes.
more descriptive? But there's nothing up there. I mean, it hardly has anything.
Yeah.
I can't even tell
Location.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
And
y'all.
the address and the direction.
Do me a favor. You saw what it looks like to not do it, okay? Bad listing. Paragraph this long. This one, hi, let's give it a little bit something more, especially when you only got 3 photos, right? And there's nothing in the private remarks, y'all. Something tells me that there is something that needs to be said in the private remarks about this home. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we're going to take a look at the rest of it. Let's see here. How does that look?
Oh, they had a conversation.
Cheryl for the win. More Blitz points for Cheryl. She said it, y'all.
And the original list price was $1.9 million.
Y'all, compensation is still in FMLS. Okay, this is a question for the whole room. Do we put compensation in the MLS?
No.
No. Why not? Extra Blitz points.
Keller Williams doesn't allow any MLS.
I'm going to give that one to Deanna. We do not, as part of the Rawls group, put this in, and we have the amazing Michael New to thank because he has gone on the back end and scrubbed it all for you, and I don't know any other company or office that does that.
Exactly, and I called the Chattahoochee North agent and told her that, and I said, she's like, oh, only old listings. Said, no, we're not allowed to, so she said thank you.
I love that. Okay, let's look at this one. What are we noticing right off the bat?
School.
Is that Phil? Phil, you just got Blitz points, my friend. For those of you that didn't hear, Phil very astutely told us that this house is falling backwards. Like, I feel like I gotta walk in like one of these, you know? Just kind of like, already. Okay, love that. Let's see if there's anything else.
No documents.
Yes, okay, we got your documents. GPS. No private remarks. Okay, we know these things. Let's see what else. Okay, no compensation. But let's take a look at these photos, shall we? Let's see, because when a house is leaning, I really need to see the rest of it. So let's see. Hey, maybe it gets better.
Oh, so is it? It's up a hill with that picture.
Yeah,
They didn't use photographer, but it's probably
I the other direction. Not good.
That's a homemade picture.
Okay, so y'all, do me a favor. What are we suddenly feeling when we see these photos?
I have no idea where they are. The quality of the house.
Oh,
There's
It's
no
phone
description.
So some look professional, some look
Yo, these are, okay, let's have a real moment here. Let's have a real moment, bear with me.
That's not the best picture.
I love it for our brand new realtors. I'm sorry, we are roasting today. This is the first Atlanta roast day, apparently. But do me a favor, show of hands, and I want you to be honest, okay? Because there's no judgment here. This is not our listing. If you saw this, how likely would you be to look at the rest of the photos?
No.
Raise your hand if you would look at the rest of the photos.
No. Unless the price was really compelling.
I got 2 people that are going to look at the rest of the photos. So do me a favor. You can have the most beautiful home, period. But if your opening photo is not what it needs to be, you have officially done your client a disservice. Now, are we nosy because we're realtors and we want to know everything? Yeah. Guess what? Your clients are actually not as nosy as you are. They're not moving past the photo. So do me a favor. Get that photo right. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Is this fun or what? Fun. You're like, yeah, because it's not my listing. You want to go through what? We did all the photos.
Well, I want to see the captions. I think they're all AI captions. I like to edit them.
You know what? That is so good of you to notice, because we are going to look at captions here in a minute. Not in a bad way.
Since I saw advertising in my previous career,
the auto-generated captions.
Space after the pictures where you can put more.
The descriptions.
It's like extra selling.
Yeah, y'all, do me a favor. Debbie's got such a good point, and her advertising background will tell you. This is additional marketing. So let's see. Front of structure. Got it. Okay. Kitchen. Let's see. We're just going to see if it's AI. Okay, do me a favor. How descriptive is other? How descriptive is other? Yeah. So if you've got a listing right now and you are committing any of these faux pas, do me a favor. Don't tell us. We don't need to know. Go fix it. Yes? Okay. Yes. Hi, Farnoosh.
So sorry about my voice.
That's okay.
So
You've been working hard. We can tell.
Yeah. So I want to share one of my experience about the listing. I had a lake house listing 2 years ago, and it was really beautiful in front of the lake. But the time of my listing was in the winter, so the picture looks really bad.
Right.
And this house listed before with a different agent on the summertime with a all greenish, beautiful picture. So, and I called the agent and buy one picture for $400 to use it as a front picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, good for you. I hope your clients paid you all the compensation and then some. Did y'all hear what she did? Seriously, so if you're getting ready to take a listing this winter, which everybody in this room should be, right, we know that the house is not going to be luscious and green and all the amazing things. If you know it's coming, what if you were to go and have a picture done today? Right? You can absolutely have photos done today that you can plan for the future months, because we know potentially November, but definitely December and January, it's bleak. All right? So think about that now. Talk to your sellers today. What you also might find is someone who is thinking of listing in the holidays, because you go have that conversation, they might list it now. Okay, so start having those conversations. I think we've got one more we're going to take a look at. So, well, we're taking ones that are current right now. Yes, these are. Okay, what do we notice about this? Have we done this one already? Yeah, we just did this one. I thought so. Perfect. And let's take a look here. Okay, what do we notice?
Yeah, the photo, no documents.
Use GPS.
Well, we have proper and we have
Yeah. Y'all, do me a favor. You're going to notice a pattern, okay? Why do you think I'm being a stickler about it saying use GPS or just GPS?
Because you want to show details.
Yeah, lazy, exactly. It shows the effort.
100%. Rudiger and Zod, you're both going to get blitz points. Y'all, do me a favor. We are the best agent in the deal. We hold the standard of how things go, okay? I will tell you right now, the way that you show up in your listing is how the buyer's agent will also likely show up for you. So if you want to make sure you're working with the best agents, they're filling in the details, they're filling in the boxes, do me a favor, set the example and do it first. The other thing too is are we like a hub of metropolitan, we're a metropolitan city, do we have a lot of out-of-state and out-of-country visitors here? Yes. 100%. Not everybody knows, not everybody uses Waze, right? Not everybody knows what's going on, and when you can actually list landmarks and streets and tell them what to look for, you will make it that much easier, okay? 9 years in the business, and I can tell you I've absolutely had buyers say, I didn't understand how to find that home, and they didn't say anything. It's difficult. Right? Because maybe they went over the weekend, they wanted to go scout it out an area, and I said, that's okay, don't worry, that's why you have me. I'm gonna tell you exactly how to get there. You know what, I'm gonna go tour the property today. Would you like to join me? Let's see if we can go see it earlier. Or I'm going to go find it and I'll tell you about it ahead of time. And moving forward, for all the properties where it says use GPS, I'm going to give you specific instructions. Do you think they liked me that much more? Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's take a look at these beautiful photos. Let's see what we're working with here, okay? So this is 603 Brighton Court. It is a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Here is a photo of the front of the structure. Is anybody feeling blue looking at this home? I mean, is a house complete if it doesn't have steps?
This is a horrible photo. Somebody is really cheap and didn't want to use a professional photographer from.
Now, we make no assumptions. Let's just be better.
And that's a cheap home, but I've seen like $1 million.
Do me a favor. How do you feel about this other area? Yeah. Y'all, come on. Let's be better.
You know, even your cheapest listings, they make some assumptions on you, okay?
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter if it's a $150,000 listing or it's a $2 million listing, you
Amen.
have to have a professional photographer.
And for those of you on Zoom that can't hear it, Ayala said no matter the price of the home, use a professional photographer. Maybe you're not getting a 40 photo package. Maybe you're getting a 25 photo package or whatever that looks like, but use someone professional. Now, for those of you who have listed properties or those who are about to list properties, you know how difficult it can be to choose from our photos, yes? Yes. And we go, oh gosh, do I want this one or do I want that one? Do I want this one or do I want that one? But what do? We choose a photo, right? Yeah. Okay, well, not this time. Because in case we didn't know which photo to use, we have this version. And we have that version. We have this version. And we have this version. Are we going to be better?
The staircase is much better option.
Okay. Now, what is wrong with this photo? The toilet seat. By the way, Rudiger, you got that one. You got blitz points there. Deanna.
Yes.
Okay, Deanna just got blitz points.
Yeah.
Y'all, do me a favor. I want you to look at the light bulbs. There are 3. The one in the middle is really clear.
Yeah, right.
The one on the left is like, I'm sort of here with a whisper.
It's dead.
And then the other one is just totally dead. Okay, do me a favor. If you have a 3-bulb light, all of them need to be working, yes? And they all need to be the same color. I hope you have been tracking your blitz points because Michael New is not putting them in for you. But if you are wondering how many blitz points you got, he can help you with that. So, again, here's the thing, y'all. Let's be better. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, y'all, this makes me, I feel blue. I feel sad. I feel really sad. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. We know the GPS, all of that. What else do we see? Compensation. It does not go in the MLS. Now, do me a favor. Let's take a look at what a good listing looks like, shall we? And it just may happen to be here from our family at First Atlanta because we are the best agents in the deal. Hi, that is a beautiful opening photo. And what you will notice is that there are beautiful professional photos. Now do me a favor, if this is your listing, raise your hand. Yes, Shannon Parkerson. And the lovely Shannon Parkerson, you do receive blitz points for being the best agent in this. We thank you so much. Y'all, professional photos, even if you don't have a full stage, even if it's, right, they still live there. We still set our best foot forward. Now, the other thing I want you to notice is, does that look like a good size description? Yes. It is. There are directions. It is descriptive. There is nothing in there that shouldn't be said, meaning we are not telling them that it's a 5-minute walk from anywhere. Get it? Because we don't tell people anything that is walking, running, anything like that. Why?
Because not necessarily that's going to be their
Protected classes.
Yes.
Bingo, protected classes. So we don't actually put that in there. So this is a beautiful description. And if I scroll down and I want to see the rest of the information, and if it's in there, it is. I know, I just saw that one. Michael knew we missed one.
But that's May.
I know, it's May. So that's, yes, oh, sorry, you're right, this is closed. Good, ooh, I was like, how did I not know? This one's closed, so that's okay. The other thing, here's the thing. What I want you to notice on the top right-hand corner, y'all, this was listed for $625, and how much did they sell it for? If you can see it, $650. Does it make a difference to list and market your properties correctly?
Yes.
Yes, it does. We're gonna do.
Cara, one more thing that's really important because I work with a lot of people that are coming here either from out of country or out of state.
Yes.
Other places do use, the floor plans that actually shows how you can walk through the house and all this stuff. And I got a lot of complaints from clients that said, oh, we don't know how it looks, and even if I do a video, it's still not. So just put a floor plan.
Put a floor plan
Please.
if you can, if you have it, if you can pay for it. Love that. Thank you, Ayala. Now, last but not least, we have another home here. Hi, beautiful photos, professional photos. This is from the lovely Jill Wright here in our market center. Way to go, Jill. Y'all, don't you just want to go sit there and live there for a little bit? Because I know I do. Beautiful. Now, here's the thing. It does say GPS friendly, but what comes afterwards? Yeah, give them something to actually hold on to with that. Beautiful, beautiful, clear instructions. The home is being sold as is. We are not guessing anything about that. And then this is closed, so that's why there's the compensation. But in all of their listings, there is no compensation listed. So again, if you are not sure what your listing should look like, okay, this is it. This is the gold standard. And the last thing that I'll tell you is,
There's another thing that I see. They don't quote tax records for the square footage, and probably that's more correct than tax records.
100%. So here's the other thing. Who here text messages on the regular? I better see every hand up, or I know you are lying. Okay. What happens when someone texts you all in caps? What does that mean? Yeah, you're shouting at me, and I don't know why you're shouting at me. I'm going to take my earrings out. However, when we get on the MLS, it is the same thing. So do me a favor. Don't be putting all caps. Don't be shouting at folks. Yes, Cheryl, I said it. I will take my earrings out. Stop yelling at me. So, do me a favor. We are not going to be doing this in all caps, okay? Y'all, does this feel simple? Does this feel like something that you can follow and you can do? Yes.
One of the things when you were talking about floor plans that drives me.
Wait, we're going to get you on mic. Hold on, Debbie. Colleen, if I can get you over here. Our folks on Zoom, unfortunately, can't hear you in the room, and so that is why we are so set on getting you that mic.
So when you're talking about adding floor plans, one of the things that drives me nuts when people get the professional pictures taken and the photographer sends them to you in alphabetical order, that's how they load them.
Oh, okay. Did everybody catch that one?
I load my pictures, you walk them in the front door and you try to walk them through the house, and it'll be like, bathroom, basement, you're bouncing all over
all
the
over
house.
The place.
It drives me crazy.
Okay, that is a really great shout out. Blitz points for Debbie Braun. Thank you so much for saying that. That is awesome. We're also going to give Blitz points to Ayala for floor plans, because yes, we need floor plans. Now, is it clear how we should be doing this, how we set that standard, how we get our properties sold? Yes? Okay, great. Is anybody here going to go make some changes to their listings maybe? That's okay. It's going to creep up a little bit. Yeah, save space. Yeah, all of you GPS users, Zod, I love that. You're like, I am doing it. I am going. All right. Now. Blitz points. Love that. Okay. So, again, just bear in mind, every which way that we market it, it's not enough to just put it up. And here's the thing. This is also one of the ways that you get to show your clients that you set yourself apart. Okay, so you can actually show them the difference in how it might impact the sale of their home. Now, one of my most favorite parts of the day, we're going to go ahead and pivot here, is because we have our very, very, very super special guest who's about to come up. I want to tell you that over the last few months, it's been a little stressful. Can we all like? Yeah, it's been a little bit stressful. And can we agree that our industry has evolved? Everybody should be saying yes. It's not a bad thing, but there is a natural evolution that's happening and will continue to happen. And so for many of you, I know that you are calling and texting and emailing our qualifying broker, Lynn. So Lynn, I'm going to ask you to come on down. Let's give her a ton of love. because we're going to bring Lynn up so that you have an opportunity to do some Q&A. Lynn, would you like a chair? We can definitely do a 5-minute potty break and then come on back. Let's do this. Do we need a potty break? Do we? Okay, we're going to keep going. If you need to go to the bathroom, head on over, but we're going to keep going. Okay. For those of you that have not met Lynn, okay, I just want to say thank you, Lynn, seriously, and I feel like I can't say it enough because there is so much going on and there's so much fear that's happening, right? And you hear it all the time. Like, on average, how many phone calls, text messages, emails have you been getting, like, every day?
I don't know. I don't count. I do more than one office, so it's real hard to count. I would tell you that I don't sleep well. I've been up since 2, so I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm always there for you. Just preferably, I'm a morning person, and I don't like to do much after dinner time because I'm exhausted. But if you need me, text me is the best way to get me because I always have my phone.
Perfect.
Okay?
So we're gonna give way here in just 1 minute to Lynn. We're gonna let everybody come back from the bathroom. And what I do want you to know is we just appreciate her so much. And so those flowers are for you, Lynn.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Ooh. Okay, so we are going to take a 1-minute break. Don't go anywhere. Stick around, and then Lynn is going to hop up, and you can ask her all of your questions. Y'all, everything that you've been saving up or waiting for or needing to know, I want you to be able to get them out now. If you don't have questions, stick around because other people will have questions you need to hear. Sound good? Yay. Okay, we'll give everybody a minute.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, most of you, some of you know me, the old timers, but the newer ones don't because I'm not very visual. I don't come into the offices. I work from home. I live an hour and a half away from here, so it's a pleasure to be here today, though, I promise you.
Love that.
But just don't expect to see me in person.
So I'm going to be in the back of the room. I've got a chair for you in case you need it. And just give us 1 more minute, folks, and then we will get started. Y'all, any ahas from when we were just talking about listings right now? Did anything pop out to you? Anything you didn't know about? No, we know all of it. We're just maybe not doing it. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. Awesome. Hi, come on in. Come on in. Give us just a minute.
Is that better? No? Yes?
We missed you.
I can't hear myself. I can try. It'd be easier than holding this because I've got stuff I need to look at. Yeah, let's do that. Want to look at. All right, is that better? Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
Let's give it another 30 seconds, and then we'll let you jump in.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone has some questions, but I do have some things to share as well. No, Peg, you have questions, really? Works for me. I'm ready when you are. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to pass the mic, so bear with us.
I just hold it.
And then once you're done, you can pass them to me.
Okay, I might be here for a while. Do you know if there's anything different about FMLS fees going forward if commissions reduce?
Not that I've heard anything about, Peggy.
Okay. Implied agency. I expect there to be a lot more unrepresented buyers coming in. And what are we allowed to say and not say? And I don't want to get in real estate jail.
Right. There's a form that everyone needs to get familiar with, and it's the F-116, the Customer Acknowledgement Form. We have not required it in the past, but I'm going to start requiring it now because of the way the market has changed and everybody's gunning for us, so to speak. So there's a form that clearly lays out what you can and can't do. So no buyer can say, I didn't understand you, I thought you were representing me. It's very clear in that form. So you need to have that form signed, just like you would a buyer brokerage agreement.
Okay, I understand that. Unrepresented buyer, and so I'm going to be doing the work for the buyer's as a buyer's agent. Please don't put me on face. I don't want that, thank you. And if they start to ask, oh, who do we need to use for a closing attorney? Do you have an inspector? Things like that.
It would be no different than giving anyone that information, but you give more than one. You give them 2 or 3 different people.
Okay.
Don't ever give anyone just one name.
Is anyone having unrepresented buyers going directly to an attorney to write a contract yet?
I haven't seen it. No, not that I've seen.
Are we allowed to request a retainer fee?
No.
Okay. What about fees for showing a property? I want to, you know, we're paying someone.
I know. The problem is that, well, wait a minute, Peggy. When you say fees.
Can I charge a retainer fee?
No, because it's a nightmare for accounting because it can't be paid directly to you.
Understand. Okay.
And then in the past, there were arguments where a buyer thought they were getting that money back and they didn't. And
Okay.
we just, our policy is no.
Charging an unrepresented buyer for handling paperwork. I mean, we tend to support if we're supporting the sellers, and we're expecting the sellers to pay for all of these things. I'm going to pay the buyer's broker commission. I'm going to pay the buyer's closing cost, whatever else comes up. And I know we're moving into a buyer's market right now. But can we charge an unrepresented buyer a fee for doing all of this ministerial stuff?
You can.
Okay.
If they're agreeable to it, sure.
Okay. And if they say no, can I kick them to the curb? Am I obligated to deal with an unrepresented buyer?
You're
You
under
know.
no. I mean, you don't.
Okay.
They're not a client.
And I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Rudiger, I'll let you go. And
Sure. Wow, those are all quick-fire questions.
Yeah.
Mine is probably going to a bit longer. So with this new situation with compensation for the buyer's agent, if I have a listing and a buyer's agent asks me, are you sharing any compensation? There's all these discussions on the internet whether you should give them a number, you should give them up front, or whether you should say, well, make an offer first, then we talk. And I was wondering, if I give them the number up front, am I not doing my seller a disservice if I say we share 3%, but the buyer would have accepted 2%? So what's legal and what's recommended?
Well, first off, it depends on what your listing agreement says. If you've got it filled out that the seller is agreeing to pay compensation, then you can't not share that. I mean, that's where we're going to get into trouble. And I'll read you, I mean, I sent that out, and this came from Ned Blumenthal. When a seller offers buyer broker commission compensation in the listing agreement, the listing agent is required to disclose that when asked, unless they have written authorization from the seller not to disclose it. These sellers are obviously offering compensation to attract buyers. Not disclosing that could potentially reduce the number of showings based on buyers not wanting to or not being able to pay their agent's compensation and skipping that listing. And a listing agent cannot make that decision on their own. And that's straight from Ned Blumenthal.
Right, so it would be the preference of the seller. We need to educate them and tell them, well, we cannot share it. You might have fewer buyers, but you could
Correct.
save money by sharing a lower percentage.
You need to be able to sell the values of whatever you're doing. Some agents are sharing 50-50, some are sharing 70-30 of it. It depends on your you gotta just know what your market is, what the house is, how easily it's gonna sell, how many buyers. The market is changing, for sure. Sellers aren't in the control seat as much, from what I've seen, and tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm seeing, is that it's gonna be more of a buyer's market, and sellers need to be more agreeable and try to get buyers.
And so far, I've not had a problem with sellers convincing them,
right.
but I'm just anticipating the case where a seller will say, well, I'm not sharing
Yeah.
as much if I don't have to, and so why disclose it from the beginning?
Then your listing agreement needs to say exactly that. You've
Right.
gotta have written authorization what your seller
Okay.
wants you to say or not say.
So I think I'll get some advice on how that needs to be worded. Thank
Okay,
you.
all right, okay.
This question, if I may. Thank you. Do we give the option to the seller to give us the permission to disclose or not? I mean, are we asking, do you want me to disclose this to the buyer
Well-
or not? Or we let them to bring it up?
It's in your agreement that they approve or disapprove. So to me, approve means I want you to share this. Now, if you want to go into more detail with the seller and say, well, do you really want me to disclose that up front? You know, but here's the reason you may not want to do that. It may take some buyers away. It's going to be how you can market yourself and market the job that you're doing, in my opinion.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes?
I wanted to go back to what Peggy was asking
Mhm.
about. I actually handle that on the seller side. So if your seller is agreeing to a 6% or a 5%, I always have a stipulation that talks about an unrepresented buyer, which ends up lowering how much they're gonna pay out. So now it may be 3 and 1.5 because I'm doing the work for the buyer side. So they're only paying out 4.5. But that's in my listing agreement.
Right.
I've always done a 4% commission if it's an unrepresented buyer.
Okay,
Traditionally, in the past, I've done 6 or 7%.
okay.
If there's a co-op,
Mhm.
4% with that. But my question is anyone charging an unrepresented buyer?
I haven't seen it,
Okay.
Peggy. I mean,
Okay.
I don't see
Has anyone thought about
everybody.
it or
No,
any
I
topics of
have not.
conversation? Okay.
Have not. But there will be some changes the first of the year in forms, and that may be one of the forms that changes, where there will be a place in there.
Because I really, okay. We cannot hear you, Peggy. And this is just my personal thing. I think these buyers have to have some skin in the game. You know, and I've always felt that
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
From when I even bought a house, but that's my personal preference, is that a buyer should be responsible for their commission, a seller should be responsible for their
Right.
commission, which we're getting to that
It's
point.
probably gonna go back
Yeah.
to that at some degree. There's gonna be a decoupling of commissions or compensation. There's changes still coming. And the problem right now is that the answers change almost daily to anything you're asking me. And there's changes from what we sent out last week. I was on a call for 3 hours Friday with the Forms Committee, and there's gonna be changes in January. If those of you who've been around like I have, if you remember, we used to have commissions in the contracts. It may come back to that at some point too. We worked hard to get them out of the contracts because buyers and sellers were negotiating our commissions. But it may come, you know, it's not, it's ugly. It's ugly out there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peggy, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yes, Brett.
Quick question on the seller brokerage agreement. I guess it's 4C.
C.
Is it better practice to? It says seller approves compensation of any being paid to buyer's broker by either seller
Yeah.
or seller's broker. What's better practice?
That's on my list to
Okay.
talk to you about. The opinion of many attorneys and the forms committee is that the seller should be paying the buyer broker and the seller broker. It should not be shared anymore to where so if you're doing 5 apples and 5 apples and 5 apples, seller's paying each broker. So I'm going to strongly recommend that we start moving towards that.
Question. Can I do one more quick question?
Yeah.
And then on the buyer brokerage agreement, on 4C, is that on the list? If the buyer approves such compensation, it says the maximum amount the buyer's broker may receive. I'm assuming people fill in 3%, but what happens above that?
Well, that's one of the things that came up in this meeting on Friday. NAR's interpretation of the settlement agreement is that the buyer must be on the hook for the same amount of money that's in the seller section that you just talked about. So if your buyer, if you put 3 for the buyer and 3 for the, put 2 for the buyer and 3 for the seller, then you're only going to be able to get 2% from the seller, even though you wrote 3. That's the interpretation. GAR, Georgia Association of Realtors interpretation, is different than what NAR's is, and there was a very, very long week and lots of conversations, but that we've been doing it wrong. Georgia's been doing it wrong. The interpretation of NAR is and the way it was put to me is the buyer needs to be on the hook for the same amount that the seller is. So this before of putting 4% plus up to a $5,000 bonus has to be in the buyer section as well. So in 4A, I think it is, Brett. I've got the form here, but I don't have enough hands.
4C, it says optional compensation from seller.
No, well, in the listing agreement or the buyer brokerage?
The buyer agreement.
The buyer brokerage, though, the buyer, is 4A, I believe. So, 4B.
Or
Okay,
4B,
thank
yeah.
you. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
So that amount needs to be the same as whatever you're putting in 4C.
Oh, they both need to be the same.
They need to be the same.
Okay.
If 4C is the same, then how do we get bonuses? Like new construction always has bonuses.
That's fine, but you got to put it up in 4B.
So you can't do. Oh, because I was adding it in here.
Whatever you put for the buyer, for the seller.
So
I don't know. Well, hang on.
The attorneys went through this form.
This is all a recent change, like as of Friday.
As of Friday?
Yeah. And so that's why, I'm sure we've all taught it differently, still. But I'm telling you that we've been told now that we've been doing it wrong. from NAR, they have told us we're doing it wrong.
So we need to make a match, and then if you want to add something about bonuses, add it in both sections.
Yes.
Okay. And that'll allow you to make over whatever that percent was.
Correct. Because the way it is now, if you put 2% for the buyer in 4B, is it 4B? And then 4% in 4C, you're only going to get 2%. Yeah. And you would only get what the buyer's on the hook for, is again the way I don't know how else to explain it. It's got to match. And when you fill out your either instructions to closing attorney or the broker compensation form, it has to match what you have in your listing agreement or your buyer brokerage agreement, or you need to be amending, because it needs to match. And you will see I'll start kicking them back. I know you just love it when you get them and they're returned. Yeah.
So I just had one, the new construction, where it's like that $7,500 bonus. And so you're saying that I need to have that in my buyer brokerage agreement, but would that, I mean,
what buyer's going to sign it is the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are they going to pause on that?
That was exactly what Seth Wiseman said. What buyer's going to sign it? I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you what. That's the thing, is I don't have all the answers. All I can do is tell you what NAR is telling us. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I'm doing my best.
That there is going to be a bonus?
That is what Seth is recommending. But you need to do it pretty quick. You don't need to wait till the last minute. And the F-258, the pre-showing authorization, is probably not going to be here in January.
And
That's
the amendment would say that the seller is paying such and such bonus to the buyer's broker.
Everything should go to directly from the seller to the buyer broker. Yeah.
From the seller.
Correct. That is the best way to start doing your forms.
So what about existing forms that we have right now?
If you want to amend them, that'd be great, but you don't have to. This again is just a strong recommendation from GAR that we split them up and let the seller pay each side and stop the co-op.
Okay, because my numbers don't match, and I don't want you to kick it back. Do I need to redo them? Do you want me to redo them? I can get them redone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because the other thing, I mean, if I see the instructions to closing attorney, I am going back now and looking at your listing agreement or buyer brokerage, and again, it has to match. Yeah. And I'm only doing that not to be mean, because you know me, I'm not mean. I'm really not. I'm as easygoing as you can get. But I'm trying to keep us out of trouble, because I'm telling you, they've gone after all the brokers for millions and billions of dollars. The agents are next. Y'all are next. So we got to be on really have our P's and Q's. Yes,
Okay.
Peggy.
My next set. I know in just reading Inman and Housing Wire and stuff like that, they keep talking about steering for commissions. So, and I understand that, but if a buyer decides to self-eliminate different homes, because they're going to ask what the commission is, what do I need to do to protect myself?
Have it in writing again.
Okay.
That's the whole thing with this whole settlement, is transparency and communication, disclosure. You can't say enough right now, and you can't, I mean, it needs to be in writing, whatever you're saying these days.
So if I'm going to show property on Saturday, and they've sent me 10 homes to see, and is it best for me to send back to them the homes and what the commissions are, and then let them decide?
Well,
or
your buyer brokerage needs to have it covered in there. So.
Okay, so in the buyer brokerage, do I write a stipulation in there that buyer requests only to
If that's
show
what your
homes?
buyer wants.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Unrepresented buyers,
Mhm.
again. I'm the
I
listing
have.
agent, and I have 4 people that come to look at the house.
Mhm.
They all want to write an offer. Can I write all 4 offers?
You just need to disclose to each that
Okay.
that you are making offers for other people besides just them.
Okay.
The 116, F-116.
So Tavika with McMichael and Gray has printed up some packets, and there's some more coming.
Oh.
Yes. With the pre-showing agreement, the seller brokerage engagement agreement, and all of that. I know we don't have copies for everyone, but is there someone? I think someone had said they would really benefit from having that right now. Sure.
When they're
coming, Tavika, thank you so much for that.
when they send out these forms and stuff,
Mhm.
is it possible? I know that they're dated at the bottom.
Yes.
But is it possible to put another date that, like, when it's coming out to us? I know it says 7/1, but whatever changes, everything needs to be dated, I think, coming out. Emails, any kind of PDFs. I know.
Okay.
NAR is sending stuff out that is not dated.
Okay.
But
I can't control NAR, believe me.
Okay. Can I charge different buyers different fees?
It's negotiable. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, I'm not going to have 4 buyers that come to the house. They want to look at the house, and I'm telling them that I charge a fee for each.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that one, Peggy. I'd have to
Okay.
give that one some thought. Because I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of unrepresented buyers right now, but
Okay.
Again, that may change.
That was going to be my next
Yeah.
question to finish this session of my questions.
I'm not.
Is what are you seeing, and what are everyone in the Rawls group, and do you have is KW Southeast or Georgia? Do you talk about this weekly, monthly, or stuff?
I don't talk. I'm not part of that leadership group that talks, which are the OPs.
But leadership is not in the trenches like we are. Leadership
Yeah.
gets their paycheck every week.
But the brokers go by what the leadership is directing them.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I have sent this form out before. If you don't have it, I'll get some copies made before I leave. But it just kind of breaks down the when, why, and how of the broker compensation forms, how to use them, the benefit of using them. You know, I truly think the F-258, the pre-showing, will go away by January or in January. If you're using the broker compensation form, the F-259, then, and you go binding on a contract, the attorneys love that form because it's part of the contract, but it's got to be filled out and signed completely, and I'm seeing a lot of ones that are not filled out completely. Don't know why. So that's when that's when you know, go back to the instructions of closing attorney, the F-255. What Deanna?
So with this one here, so can you use
259.
259
Okay.
broker compensation agreement? Is this the one, because it has 2 dates on it? So the first date would be signed by like the listing agent and the seller and what we
Mhm.
agree to pay, and then the second date would be pretty much the offer date between the 2 people agreeing that they're going to pay this much money.
Well, it depends on who is filling out the form, because if you're the buyer or broker, you're probably submitting this with your offer.
Right.
So
But
it's
what if
your-
I did it, because I did it before with my seller. So I had him.
All right. I don't know that I would do it before with the seller.
So why does it have 2 dates then?
I can't see that form. My eyes aren't that good. I'm getting old these days.
Yeah, because at the top it says this
This
broker
agreement made this day, yeah.
is made on this day. So I
Thank
was
you,
like,
Michael.
okay, the date that we
Right.
were doing the listing agreement or whatever
Uh-huh.
it may be, and then it says by the undersigned parties and what? Oh, I messed
That'd
up.
be the offer
Yeah,
date.
that would be the property, and then it says dated by and between these people. So
well,
yeah. So to me, it made it seem like, and I think Cheever even said that too in
Yeah,
Market Matters,
and
that you
it-
could fill this out like you would for the SPD and the CAD.
Right. I think yeah. And that may be something that needs to be corrected. We're going to see some corrections too. I'm on a subcommittee with about 10 forms that they are going to need some correction. So that may be one of them. I'll have to take a closer look at it.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
Because I have an agent asking right now, and I'm like, well, so I have this form.
Yeah. And then, the other option is you can still do the instructions to closing attorney, which we all know that form. You can still do that form.
Right. So
You don't need to if you have this one filled out and signed correctly. But if you don't, then
oh, okay. That's
then
interesting.
use the F-255.
Because the instructions to closing attorney are still required in command, so I thought you need
Well,
both.
it's because,
And-
Michael, can you
And-
answer that one? I don't do command stuff.
And
other
that's
than
that's really a
review.
minor thing.
Other than review and write your love notes. That's about all I do.
They're just conditionally required. So
Okay.
like we don't. There's only so many options we can put in for the different. And you're either required to put the instructions to closing attorney, the 259, depending on what
Yeah.
is in there is what's going to be required.
Okay.
Yeah. If the 259 is with the contract and filled out properly, then you're good.
Okay, because my question was, you said you're going to review if there's any changes from 259 to the instructions to closing attorney. And my question was,
I'm that and your agreement. So
Right.
I'm looking at four different documents
Right.
these days.
and
to
then
be
my
sure.
question was, you might do 259 as part of the offer, or
259 is
very
part of the
close to the
offer.
offer, right? And then you got due diligence, and you got appraisal, and you got other things, and numbers might change. So where do you actually
Then-
amend 259 to make sure that there are changes? Where do you put
That's
that?
when you could do an amendment and state it in that, or just do the
Okay.
instructions to closing attorney and put a note on there that that's going to override it because that's going to be the newer date.
Okay, but then you recommend in the instructions to closing attorney to put a note referring to the 259 and saying that there are changes.
You shouldn't have to.
Okay.
Because that's going to be the latest document that
Right.
everyone has signed and agreed to. But that document still needs to match either a listing agreement or buyer
Or buyer
brokerage
brokerage.
agreement. If it doesn't, then those that form,
Okay.
whichever side you're on, should be amended.
Okay.
It's confusing, believe me.
So following up on that, did a listing agreement, talked about what the sellers were willing to compensate both buyer and sellers brokerage.
Right.
Fast forward, did an offer, a lot of negotiation back and forth, prices changed, the
Compensation changes.
So we did a instruction to closing attorney, which is different now than what was originally signed in our listing agreement. Do we need now to go back and do anything? Because they're not going to match.
I probably would right now, Shannon, I don't know that it's totally necessary, but right now, there's so much that's not understood yet by a lot of people, attorneys, myself. I would rather see it match.
Because my thought process was, or understanding was, with the settlement was that you had the option to negotiate the offer, and so that compensation can change. So
Right.
likelihood then going forward, we may have different.
Right. And I guess what I'm saying when I say they should match is more so when you have it filled out that it's 6 and 3, and then you show on the 259 or the instructions to closing attorney that it's 3 and 3, seller paying. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Needs to be changed. So that's my mistake for not making that clear. That's what I'm looking at. If you did it sharing, and then on your form, your 259 or 255, you've got the seller paying the buyer directly, buyer broker directly, that's when I
They
need
need
it
to
amended.
change.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you for making me realize my error there.
Okay, thank
Lynn, over here. I
There
wanted to
you
go
are.
back to Deanna's question.
Mhm.
Because Deanna, I have a closing Friday with that document, and you asked what are the 2 dates for? Did we get, okay. So on this one, the first date is the date the listing agent filled it out to send to me. That's the top date.
If the listing agent's the one that filled it out.
He's,
In your
but
case?
that's what that date
Okay.
is, yes. Because she said she did it for her listing, so I was trying
Okay.
to align with what she
All
said.
right.
He did the same thing, but he sent, the first date he filled in, the date he sent it to me,
Mhm.
which is the date on the second page that his client signed it as well.
Okay.
The second date is the offer date of
Mhm.
my offer.
Right.
Okay. So is that where we ended up a few seconds ago?
I think that's what we think it is.
Okay, because it worked.
Yeah. But what I'm seeing the, right,
So
right.
that's the second date. So what did you say, Deanna? Yeah,
Right.
he has the 3% on the left for the buyer, and it says seller's broker.
But you gotta put who's paying it.
It says seller's broker.
Okay.
And then on the second one, I'm trying to scroll down real quick. It says 6%.
Okay.
And then seller.
Yeah. But what I'm recommending is
Is
we
to
stop
stop
that,
doing
but
that,
moving
right.
forward and
Right.
do seller.
Right. And 3 and
The
3.
seller's paying the seller's broker X amount, and the seller's paying the buyer broker X amount.
3 and
or
3, yeah,
2
or
and
whatever
5,
it
I
is.
mean, 2 and 2, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not co-oping. Yeah. Sorry.
The second date is not clear whether it's the offer date or the binding date.
Well, I don't, yeah, it may not be, and it, again, this is a new form. I still think we're gonna see some changes, and it's one of the forms in the hopper right now. So, just everybody just try to do their best to fill out things correctly. I don't know what else to say. I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, I know we've been talking about compensation. Let me just say real quick, we have some of the easiest contracts to fill out because everything's on the front page. There is no reason that anybody should be missing a check mark on a box that was or was not built prior to 1978. I hate that, or that I represent the buyer as a client, or I represent the seller as a client. There should be nothing left blank under where it says option money. If there's no option money, put NA or put 0. Fill in those blanks wherever they are, or check boxes. There's a check box there for a reason. Same in your buyer brokerage agreement, same in your listing agreement. There are check boxes that need to be checked. That's my pet peeve, sorry. I look at contracts in my sleep. I mean, I get up at 5 in the morning. Well, I'm up earlier than that, but I get to my computer about 5 and start looking at your contracts. And that's the other thing I got. See, I get to say these things today. I do my best to review your contracts quickly so that if there are anything that needs to be corrected, it can be corrected. But I have a handful of people that ignore my notes, my love notes, and they get to closing and then they can't get their check because they never went and filled out that corrected whatever I tagged it with. I'm working hard to make sure you guys get paid quickly, so I need you to fix your contracts, if need be, as soon as I send them back to you. Please? Makes my life easier too. It really does. Okay, that's all.
When we submit contracts,
Mhm.
but we know there's we're waiting on our co-op to get us one of the forms, and it's
Mhm.
taking them extra long. Do you want us to go ahead, even though it's not complete?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have a binding agreement, I want to see it.
Okay. Even though there may be the missing 259 or ITCA or whatever.
Or CAD. I'd rather, I know you probably get irritated because I send it
No, I
back,
just-
send it back, and I say you need this or you need that. But believe me, it's the best way for all of us.
Okay.
That's good to hear because I'm always like, oh, I don't have that. Just yell at me that I don't have
Yeah, like I yell.
No.
Yeah. Every now and then I lose my control, but it's usually not with you guys. It used to be with my husband. I'd hang up the phone and I'd just go on and on and on and on. Now I don't have anyone to talk to, so I get a little mean sometimes.
Lynn, my
Yes.
next question.
Okay.
Zillow free showing
Yeah.
things. I am not a Zillow agent, but I was just wondering if for the agents at KW who also do Zillow stuff, is there anything that needs to be?
It's not recommended, let's
Okay.
put it that way. Seth Wiseman doesn't recommend that we do them, but it's a recommendation.
Okay. Now that we're in a free-for-all on commissions, on fees, apples and oranges.
Compensation.
Compensation. The if a seller wants to renegotiate the compensation that he is paying to the listing agent and the buyer's agent because they're going to accept a less than full price offer, how have you had anything like that come across?
Not that I've been able to see
Okay.
that's been what happened.
Okay. Because I do know of an agent where that's happened. They finally got it worked out. But I just wondered if you, I guess, are we going to do another roundtable discussion in 30 days where you have more
When I have more
teeth in all of
information,
this?
yeah. And I
Okay.
don't know if it'll be that quick, because it's
okay.
hard to get information that quickly. There's a lot of discussion still going on, Peggy.
Okay. A seller only wants to communicate compensation once he receives an offer, like
Well-
what EXP is suggesting right now.
Well, and that's what I read earlier. I mean, it's
Right.
If they have it in writing,
Okay.
they better have it in writing. And,
Mhm.
and I can't control what EXP does, but I can control what we do.
Mhm.
So I'm asking you, if your seller doesn't want you to,
Okay, I
All right, you
understand.
got
I
that.
understand
Okay.
it. But if a seller wants to receive offers in before they comment
Mm-hmm.
on compensation, multiple offer situation, does that seller have the right to, offer number 1, we're going to do 2%, offer number 2, we're going to do 3%, offer number 3, we're going to do 1%?
that's
Looking at the net.
It-
Do they have that option?
well, I don't know what their listing agreement says.
They are not offering, they did not say anything about compensation to a buyer's
Well,
agent.
I don't know if they can or can't legally, but I will tell you that could be a fair housing issue, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Even if they're looking at a net, because I would think,
We don't do net listings.
Well, I know we don't do, but
I mean, they're
when
illegal in Georgia. We don't
when I
do net
present,
listings.
but okay, when I am presenting an offer to a seller now, and I started doing this in several years ago, list price is $600. The buyer is asking for $25,000 in concessions,
Right.
and then I take that to my seller and I say, our offer is $575. Is that okay for you? And they're going to say yes or no. And if they say yes, I say, okay, here is how it's going to break down. They're offering $600, but they want $25 in concessions, closing costs, whatever. So your net is $575.
Okay.
Have I been wrong doing that?
No, I mean, you do a
'Cause
net.
we do a
you
net
do
to
a
seller.
net to seller sheet. Yeah.
Okay. But if
Yeah.
I'm going to do a pre-net to seller for the 4 offers that I have on the table, before the seller says, Okay, we'll do this commission. You know, you have 4 different commissions. Is that anything? Can you ask Seth about that?
Yeah, I'll have to. I'd
Okay.
have to ask an attorney that one. I don't know. I'd be real careful with that, though.
Okay.
But I don't know, Peggy.
E&O insurance.
Yeah? What about it?
Can you explain
No.
anything about that? Because that's another thing that I keep hearing about is the E&O companies are, you know, on fits and pins and needles over all of this
Well,
stuff.
a lot of ENO policies don't cover commissions or compensation
Okay.
issues, so I
Okay.
don't, I don't think we'll see it for that reason.
Okay.
Errors in admission insurance.
No, I want Peggy. So Peggy spoke on EXP.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have a listing agreement.
Correct.
So I don't understand, and it's just not registering in my brain, how they're, for lack of a better word for me, how they're playing these games. I don't understand.
I that's what I said earlier. I mean, it may come back and bite them, Robin, because somebody's going to complain about that and make a complaint, and then they'll get to see their listing agreement, and the seller didn't agree to do it that way. And that's what I don't want us to be doing. I don't like playing games. Our goal is to sell the house or to find a house for a buyer to buy. Why do we need to play games? I'm sorry. I don't get it.
But Lynn, why does the seller have to pay?
He doesn't
the buyers?
have to do
And I
anything.
understand that EXP is just decided to avoid all of those problems and just say, you know, you're going to pay Keller Williams 3% as a listing agent. And then we are going to let the buyers request the compensation for the buyer's agent. I think that's all that they're doing. I mean, I don't think it's, because why should a seller pay more? I mean, if we look at it 2020, you know, I always said at that time, why the hell are there not more zero commissions at that time?
Well,
then do it that way. Then say that we're not paying any. Then say you're not paying anything. I get that. I'm Keller Williams. My client is going to pay me 3%. But don't wait till I come to you and then decide what you're going to pay me. Just make it plain. I mean,
well, if you look in the FMLS, Duffy has a lot of stuff right now, and because I always go to her because she was the original, you
Right.
know, thing. But I think they have in their comments for compensation is seller will pay compensation, request a compensation in your offer. So.
Well, then you attach the F-259 and whatever your
Okay.
buyers agree to in the buyer brokerage agreement, you put that in there.
Okay.
And then the seller can counter it.
Okay.
But that's the other reason I see more buyers doing the 259 with their offer than getting it from the listing agent. But
So basically, doesn't matter what the F-258 says, or because you can write that the buyer is asking the seller to pay 4% to their buyer's broker. So it's basically it's not even an issue.
Well, yeah, and that's why the F-258 is probably going to go away, and I would recommend not even trying to use it anymore right now if you can. And the pre-showing, yeah. It's a form that's probably not going to exist in January.
No, but what you're saying is, or what everybody's saying, it's that it's negotiable. It's negotiable
It
not
is.
only with us towards our sellers or our buyers, it's between the buyers and the sellers as well.
Right, but if you get a signed pre-showing authorization, then that is what it says. I mean, you get what.
Yeah, but it's still, you can still say, well, the buyer wants me to get 4% and not 3% what the seller is asking. I mean, this is
Yeah.
where it's evolving to. That's what
Right,
I'm hearing.
Right, and that's why your buyer brokerage has got to match. Because if you still, there are some that still continue to put 0 that the buyer broker.
In our offices?
That the buyer will pay. Because they already know the house is that the seller is gonna offer 4%.
They should have known that because they should have signed.
Well,
that
but
buyer
what you gotta remember is your buyer brokerage isn't for one property. So if that one terminates, what are you gonna do if the next one, the seller isn't paying any compensation? Then you're gonna get 0. You see what I'm saying?
I thought that
you gotta remember your buyer brokerage, they may put an offer on the first house they see, but what if they terminate?
I
And then
thought
they
that if
find
the buyer broker put 0, that was, you couldn't get compensation.
Well, I'm even talking before we got into all this mess. And when you had 0 in your original buyer brokerage before August
Yes.
17th, and you put 0,
You could, yes. But
Then-
now, if you put 0 now,
you get
you
get 0.
Okay.
Yeah. And if a buyer, when you had put 0 in anything like that, if a buyer goes and buys a house without you, we can't even try to collect it because you put 0. I mean, we gotta stop being afraid of a buyer brokerage agreement. The buyer needs to be on the hook if we aren't getting compensated by the seller. That is what the NAR settlement is about. One thing that it's about.
Another question.
Yeah.
These companies or these individuals that are making these databases where you can, they say are okay to actually put in a compensation, what's the advice to do it or not to do it?
I haven't seen anything wrong with them, but again, it's fairly new. I think, what's the one, fee, is it fee something? I mean, I think it's working. And FMLS is allowing us to put compensation in there, but we as a brokerage are not, and most of them aren't, some still are. Georgia MLS you can't at all, and you can't even have anything with the word compensation in your private remarks. I mean, our policy is that for FMLS. You just need to, either have a pre-showing authorization ready or direct them to a website that is
Not IDX.
correct, that's not IDX.
I was just, some other individual had said that they think that that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
There's probably a lot of things that are a lawsuit waiting to happen. I mean, that worries me.
Yeah.
It does. And I don't know how we fix that yet. I don't know that anybody has all the answers right now, which is why we just have to be as careful as we can be to have transparency and to communicate and have things in writing. And that's all I can recommend right now. There are people much smarter than me that don't have the answer, and I'm relying on them to hurry up and find the answer.
Well, and because we don't have enough data to see how this plays out, that's the hard
Yeah,
thing.
well-
It's like there's a lot of what ifs, and I think it'll settle down.
I hope so, yeah.
I hope it'll settle down.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like negative
Oh, come on,
Debbie.
Debbie.
I mean, there's a reason that sellers have been paying our commission for over 100 years. And I just don't see, and I haven't seen it yet change. So like I said, I maybe have rose-colored glasses on, but we're going to bring them qualified buyers. We're not tour guides.
And-
We're going
and-
to keep them on track. Buyers
and
can't
that's
pay.
communicating that to your client.
And I haven't
You've
really
gotta
seen that much
sell 'em.
change, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing some lower amounts, but, it's negotiable.
Yeah, that can change in the
That
offer
could
too.
change too, and when the market changes, dollars usually go up. So, we'll see.
I have another two
No.
questions.
Peggy,
I'll go to EXP and ask them.
Don't you do that. No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Forms committee thing.
Mhm.
Can you talk about, or maybe suggest to them to change it from a customer to unrepresented buyer?
If you will send an email to cchow
Okay.
at garealtor.com.
Okay.
That's where any suggestions will be presented to the Forms Committee.
Okay.
Okay.
On the pre-showing compensation form. Oh, wait, that's going to be I'll send it to her also about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we spent 3 hours on Friday, was all these emails that came in from other people making suggestions or asking questions, and that's the best way to get in front of the committee.
Can you repeat that email again?
It's cchow, C-H-O-W, at garealtor.com. And it's Christina Chow, who is the legal department of the Georgia Association of Realtors. Okay.
So if we're, and I missed the first couple minutes of the conversation with the F9, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But if they're changing and y'all want us to do 3% and 3% from the seller being paid for both brokers, is that all the attorneys are gonna be made aware, like when, because they already told us that if it says 6 at the bottom, I'm sorry, if it says 3 at the bottom and 3 at the top, then you might not be, the listing agent may not be getting paid.
Well, that's why you've got to fill out the form where it says who's paying it.
But not doing the 6% is, so you're not wanting the seller, yeah.
Me
Yes.
too.
The seller's broker being put on the right side anymore, it's just the seller and the seller?
Seller and seller.
So it's 3 and 3.
Correct. Or 2.5 and 2.5, whatever
But
the
the attorneys
case.
are all gonna be on the same page
as
as we
long
are.
as they read it, yeah. I mean.
Well, because before it was, we were told that it was, if you.
But if it said seller's broker before, it would, the second part would say 6% to the seller's broker, and then the other one was 3% from the seller's broker. I don't have, now the form's gone again, I can't see it. But if it's 3 and 3 or 2.5 and 2.5, you want seller. Seller's paying buyer broker, seller's paying seller's broker.
Yeah, so it would say before, or what we were doing was 3 on the top, 6 on the bottom.
Right.
And the one on the top over there would say seller's broker, and the one on the bottom would say seller.
Right.
But now they want the seller to pay everything. So it'd be 3 seller, 3 seller.
And then your listing agreement, if you're the listing agent, that's the way it should be filled out there, because there's boxes to check of who's paying who. Whether it's the seller paying it direct or the seller's broker, but I'd prefer us to all get to the seller paying everybody, paying both sides.
Yeah, before if it said 3 and 3 and seller broker over there, that meant that the seller was paying only 3% and it was paying it to the buyer, and the listing agent was getting jack nothing.
Right. So, again, you've got to pay attention to what you're writing down. Be very careful. But I kicked one back this week like that, so we got it fixed out. So, yes, sir.
On the seller broker's agreement,
Mm-hmm.
where it says optional compensation to buyer's broker, there's two. One, it says either seller or a seller's broker. You prefer seller broker?
I prefer seller. Seller.
You prefer seller, not a seller broker.
Correct.
Okay, now it has to be the same when you do the 259. It has to be to the seller, not the seller broker.
Correct.
Okay, now accidentally, hypothetical, if you check one on the, I'm just saying, let's say you accidentally put the seller broker on your agreement. Can you, on your 259, say seller, or does it have to match?
You have to amend your listing agreement to match what the 259 is.
Okay.
So if you didn't say seller in your listing agreement, you would need to, and you did seller and seller's broker, you would need to amend it.
But preferably it has to be seller, not a seller broker.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. And the F 728 is your amendment to brokerage engagements. So that's the amendment you use, 728, F728. That will amend any brokerage agreement, whether it's your buyer brokerage or your listing. Carmelina, you have a question?
I do. She's just flagging you down for me.
You're wearing me out.
Can I suggest to a seller to work with a represented buyer if there are multiple offers?
Say again?
Okay, you have your 4 multiple offers. One of them is an EXP agent bringing me the offer, and the other 3 are unrepresented buyers. When discussing the different offers to the seller, do I point out less liability with an EXP agent versus an unrepresented buyer? Or not EXP, but ABC agent.
I don't know why it would be less liability.
Have you worked with any of these unrepresented buyers?
I don't work with.
I know you don't.
I haven't.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
list and sell and
Yeah, but
compete.
you're not out there.
No,
you don't
I'm
see
not.
it.
I'm in the.
Yeah.
I'm in the other trenches.
Right. Exactly.
Believe me, I'm in more
Yeah.
trenches than you can imagine.
Mm-hmm. No,
So,
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
have no idea.
Anything about? Are you familiar with Landian.co? That is the new website that is out. That is started by Stitzer.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sorry.
they are taking, my listing, but they're rewriting the description of the property. And so I think that they're using AI to rewrite my description, but what liability do I have if they're rewriting something and they put something in there that is not accurate to my listing? Or is this, I'm too early for this question?
Well, I don't know that we would be liable or you would be liable for what someone else does.
Okay, they list my name as the listing agent on the thing, so
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Landian, Landian.
I'll have to look at. I
Okay.
know what you're.
Yeah.
This is the guy that started this whole thing.
Yeah.
Who has now gone and.
He's a fee for service
Right.
type of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And Lynn, I want to be conscious of your time too. So if you've got time to take a couple more, if
I'll
you do
take a
need to go,
couple
we
more and
understand
then-
that. Thank you.
I'm just trying to avoid traffic since I had traffic coming in.
Of course.
So,
So we'll
but
take a
forgive
couple
me.
more
You can
questions
always-
for Lynn.
You can always call me and email me and text me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, don't you?
So we've already had these signed, but we haven't listed yet, and it's in the listing agreement that the date of marketing everything is, down the road. We don't have to amend these, or you want us to go back in?
If it's not too much trouble, I'd love you to. It's not, I'm not making it a requirement, I'm making a very strong suggestion at this point that we get away from co-oping as far as the sharing part, that we just do, the seller's gonna pay me, seller's gonna pay you. No, that's just a very strong suggestion. Pardon? Well, like if sharing the compensation.
The other agent. That co-op is the other agent. Your co-op. I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay, I
So
know
do you
everything's
want us to
clear
keep
as
using
mud.
the pre-showing agreement right now?
You can if you choose to. I mean, it's still a form.
Okay.
It's just probably gonna go away.
So should we be expecting the other side to be sending them to us when we schedule?
There's nothing that requires them to do it.
Okay.
That's the other problem is you can't require them to do it. All you can do is ask.
Yeah, I've been asking.
Yeah, or get it in writing though, because a text that says, yeah, my seller will do this, it won't stand up.
Oh, wow.
Gotcha.
It won't stand up.
Thank you.
There's something else I needed to tell you. Yeah, it's better, but it's not as good as.
Just earlier about this, and they said that it's kind of like a CYA, the pre-showing, it's like a CYA.
Yeah,
It's basically.
but it's a form that we are finding is not not as good as it should be, and it's probably gonna go away. But you're welcome to, yeah, you can continue to use it if you choose to, but,
It's optional, you're saying?
yeah, there's nothing that's required in that concept. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Lynn.
What Peggy
Okay.
wanna know?
Well, I just. I'm
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just kind of curious right now because we're out there, we're talking with other agents that we've known
Right.
for years, and
Sure.
everybody's struggling, and we're all trying to help each other. I mean, that's really the sense that I'm getting. Everyone's trying to figure it all out,
Right.
holding hands together.
Yeah.
However, you know the situation that I was just in, and at the end, it's surrounding about, like, at what point does commission stop getting negotiated? Or is there a point? Or because the perception now is commission's negotiable, like
Well,
after
it's
the
always-
inspection.
They've always been negotiable.
Well, it's
That's
always
the
been-
thing. They've always been.
Right,
this
but
is not
all
new.
the way through the whole entire transaction. It's like once you're binding.
Well, that's when
right,
you
and
have
now
to make a decision whether you're willing to. There's
Right.
nothing, if your buyer brokerage or listing agreement says you get X amount, there's nothing that says you have to negotiate. But are you gonna get people to the closing table? I don't know.
Well, that's my
Yeah,
concern.
no,
The
I
jeopardy involved in that once
Right,
you're that
right.
deep in, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's say
I know.
perhaps after an inspection, and now the
Yeah.
seller's upset about whatever,
Right.
and then now it's like, well, now because of that, and I'm coming out of pocket for this, somebody else has got to kick in, or
Yeah,
you know.
I hope we're not gonna see too much of
I
that,
hope we're not.
honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not any different than it's been for the last 40 years. for me.
Okay.
I mean, except that we don't negotiate it in the contract anymore, but again, that may come back. Just telling you. Possible. I know there's something I needed to tell you, now I forgot. I don't know. Peggy's got me worn out. And she knows I love her dearly. She knows I do. Oh, jeez. We'll have another conversation, yeah. The cheat sheet that says, yeah, I'll be happy to. Thank you. Yep. One thing, let's see, real quick. Yeah, I mean, I can read you exactly what Seth Wiseman said, if you care to hear it, about the buyer, about the buyer has to be on the hook for the same. But I have it in writing from Seth, if anybody wants it. That it's. No. This is the why our buyer brokerage agreement needs to be the same in B and C. Yeah, it's short. Yeah. We are now learning from NAR that the buyer must be on the hook for the entire compensation. The buyer's broker can seek a contribution towards that compensation from the seller or seller's broker, but the buyer must be obligated to pay the remainder. As a result, a buyer must agree to pay the buyer's broker any bonus up front. Few buyers are going to want to approve paying the buyer's broker a bonus up front. If the buyer is paying the buyer's broker 3%, and the buyer then sees a property where the seller is offering 4%, the buyer can only be paid 3% unless the compensation agreement is amended. I recommend getting an amendment to the buyer brokerage engagement agreement rather than just having the broker compensation reflect a new higher amount. I think this would be safer. For better or worse, I think this is where buyer brokerage compensation is heading. It is true decoupling where the seller does not make the first offer on compensation, but instead asks the buyer to request compensation.
Talking about the compensation period. And so do you think at some point the contracts will change where we won't be asking the seller to contribute in the beginning?
I don't know. That hasn't been how it's gonna, I don't know how it's gonna come out. I don't know.
That's interesting.
But, and just please remember that you've gotta have your buyer brokerage signed prior to showing houses, even virtually. And that's a clear violation of the settlement if we don't. So, you know, especially with, did
Say
you?
that again, I'm sorry.
As of August 17th.
Yeah.
Your buyer brokerage agreement must be signed prior to showing property, even virtually. So those dates, if you go binding on September 10th, that buyer brokerage agreement better not be dated September the 11th.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And remember to get, I still see people turning in listing agreements that are signed after it went binding. You guys, you're killing yourselves. You have no not you guys, but you have no protection when you do that. Last one, Peggy.
I have been guilty of signing it the day after closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I will.
wasn't
I
calling
will
names,
own it. I
but
will
it's
own it.
fine.
Do you have any idea how many unrepresented buyers are popping up now with all of this going on? Are we still too early at that? Is
I'm
anyone
not.
in the office
Mm-mm.
kind of seeing that?
No.
Or
I mean,
any of the teams or the team?
No.
What? Okay.
I mean, there's always one or two, but I don't. I'm not seeing an abundance. Yeah, I'm not seeing an abundance certainly.
Okay.
At least, I mean, I do contracts for this office and for Dunwoody, so.
I was just wondering who is seeing a lot of unrepresented buyers, how they are handling it. You know, you get 15 people that call, they want to see it. Are you running over there every hour to show it to someone else? Are you just, are people just,
Well, but
you know?
the problem is you can't just show a buyer property anymore without them signing a buyer brokerage.
But it's my listing.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. your
okay, if it's my listing,
okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't clarify
Right.
that. You didn't read my
Yeah,
mind.
okay. In open
Okay.
houses, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Right,
Uh-huh.
but if you start showing them another house
Mhm.
down the street, then you're in trouble. If you don't have
Okay.
a buyer brokerage sign.
Okay.
Does that
But
make
if
sense?
it's your listing and it's not an open house and they're unrepresented, they wanna go see it Wednesday at 4.
Well, you
that
still
has
should be
to-
asking the question, have you signed a buyer brokerage agreement with anyone?
Mhm.
Because then, you know,
Should you have them sign something?
Their agent.
I would do the customer acknowledgement, if nothing else, but they may not want to that, you know.
Then you can not show them the house?
Well.
Or we're responsible to show, our job is to sell the
Your job's
house?
to sell the house.
Okay, okay.
Your
Yeah.
your
But I just
duty
wonder
is-
if anyone is, you know, corralling everyone.
Ask it on the
s-
Rawls Group Facebook page. I haven't seen
Okay.
an abundance of what you're talking about, but
I think we're
don't
still too early.
It may be.
Because football season just started and that's taking, that's
True.
it.
Okay, yeah.
Also virtually, is that means I
Say-
cannot send a virtual showing?
That includes virtual,
Is that means I cannot send a listing to anyone without a
Nope.
contract?
without a buyer brokerage agreement.
The virtual tour thing?
Mhm. That's
So-
the way the settlement reads.
But that's what I mean, I can't even send a listing?
No.
Just say, hey, listen,
Hang
so-and-so, I have these properties
Wait
for
a
you.
minute, wait a minute. Let me read it exactly.
But that's what I'm trying to find
Well, I
out.
guess if you were to go out to a house and videotape it and send it to an agent, can you send?
No, but I'm saying, if I,
People are on
my
searches all
question,
the time.
my question is, let's say, he shows interest that he wants to possibly invest or buy a house. And he's thinking about it, he wants to talk to his wife or whatever. I wanted to entice him to sign a contract with me because he's looking, but hasn't made a commitment yet. Can I send him a few listing of FMLS to kind of whet his appetite for he says, ooh, look at this, let's go sign because we want to see this house. Can I send him the listing
Let me get to the NAR form and I'll tell you,
without the contract?
because.
because that's a way to get people to just say, oh, I got people like that all the time.
No, me either, because if Peggy gets sued, I get sued. Sorry, guys. I got too much paper. All right. I may not have brought that with me. All right, here we go. All right. This is straight from NAR. I've sent it out at least once, if not more. Okay, hang on. Blah, 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 blah. You do not need a written agreement if you're just speaking to an agent at an open house or asking them about their services. This is what this is the settlement what the settlement means for buyers. You have to sign a written agreement with your agent before touring a home. But I know it's, whoops, sorry, I broke it. Sorry about that. I know it said virtual, but I think that means, like we said, thank you. Right. Searches are,
I can't even
searches are
send-
fine. I mean, people, my son-in-law's set up on he gets all the new listings, yeah.
So one more question.
But I will confirm that for sure.
About showing houses without a contract. Let's say me and him are driving around, and I'm an agent, and I'm one to I see a house for sale by Peggy, and I'm like, ooh, I want to take a look at this house, see what Peggy's got. He doesn't want to buy. He's just accompanying me because we're just driving around. I'm walking her listing. We're walking around, and he says, ooh, I really like this house. I may want to buy this. Am I?
You're in
trouble?
violation. Yeah.
How do I bypass that? I don't take him with me and say, hey, you sit in the car until I go see this?
If you're working with someone as a buyer,
I'm not working with him. He's just a
He's
friend,
just a friend,
accompanying me. We
you
just,
know. I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
And then he falls in love with the house. I don't know who's going to police this that deeply.
Yeah.
I can't answer what will happen.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
exactly. I mean, I don't.
That's happened to me last week. It happened to me last week.
All right.
So I'm just saying,
I
I just want to make sure.
recommend if you got anyone who you think might buy a house and want to work with you, have them sign a buyer brokerage agreement. No, I know you do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who will be policing this, but I don't want someone. Right.
Just make sure the last name's not Sitzer or Burnett, you know?
You know, nothing has changed in that we never know it's a problem till it's a problem. And that's how this whole thing is gonna keep playing out. There's no perfect anything right now. We just do the best we can and be as communicative as we can be and transparent as we can be. That's what I think. No, it just depends on the day and the time.
Y'all, can we say thank you to Lynn for her time today? We are so grateful for you. We're going to let you get on the road before you hit traffic.
Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate